Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another movie review. I know I watched the movie. Holy crap, the world has ended as we know it. Anyways, I did check out a movie. Um, it was a really, really good movie. Let me say this. I love this movie. I've seen it so many times in the past. I remember watching this like multiple times when I was like a young teenager. I don't know why I watched it when I was young because um, it wasn't really a kids movie. I remember seeing it, and it was kind of disturbing. See, this is what would happen. I got to tell you a little story about my childhood. Okay, so my mom liked to go out and have fun, and I would always get left with a babysitter a lot of the times. I'm not saying anything about my mom. She's a great mother. She just liked to party without me. Anyways, so when I was younger, I'd watch a lot of movies, and sometimes she would just say, "Hey, pick a movie out, and you can watch it." And a couple times she would get movies that or she thought was okay because just by the cover. I watched Child's Play. I watched that with her though. When I was younger, it gave me nightmares, whatever. But I did watch Troll a long time ago. Troll, Troll, and I've only seen the first one. I know there's a second one. I've not seen that. Um, I don't know. This is my thing, is I've never even seen it. I don't know if it has anything to do with the first movie. Um, but I do know that I loved this movie, and I watched it last night. And let me tell you this: I don't remember why I loved this movie so much, but I can understand the goofiness, that the reason why I liked it. And it's kind of a goofy movie, but it kind of sucks you in. The only thing about it is, if anybody is checking this out for the first time, it is a little bit slow getting into it, because here's the problem I had the other night when I was trying to watch it. I think like a week ago, I tried to start watching it. Well, at first it was kind of messing up one week, and then I skipped it, so I waited a week, and then I started to watch it. Actually, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it, and then it kind of froze up again, and I kind of got out of not wanting to watch it. And the reason is because I started watching it, and when it did the whole I don't know why, it was on Comet, which that channel is horrible. There is no HD on, I don't think, for Comet. But it's kind of like a retro, kind of like sci-fi kind of channel. And they have a lot of cool stuff on there. They used to have ROH, Ring of Honor, but evidently Ring of Honor moved to like some kind of app. And I have it on my phone. But, yeah. Anyways. But yeah, it's kind of so when I watched it at the beginning, it's kind of slow getting started, because the fact that it kind of it's showing the family, and you're getting to know them, and then you have something happens, and the little girl's going crazy. I'm not giving anything away. You'll know this like soon after the movie starts. But the little girl goes crazy, and she does this really gross thing at the beginning though that kind of always upsets me. Like, it makes me uncomfortable for some reason. I don't know why. And I don't know if anybody ever has seen this movie. Let me know in your comments about the uncomfortable situation, because there's a part where they're giving her hamburgers, or it's like from a fast food joint or something. I don't know what it is. They call them something, some kind of burgers, and I think it's like gut burgers or something like that. I don't know what they're called. But anyways, this little girl is literally shoving them in her mouth, like eating them like she hasn't eaten in like 4 years or something, and she's like going and shoving it all in her mouth, and she talks with her mouth, starts talking with her mouth full and stuff, and stuff's coming out. It's so gross, and the food doesn't look like real hamburger meat. It looks like green, like it looks gross. Oh my god. And it's only one thing in the movie that always like kind of disturbed me. And I remember being sick a couple times and not being able to watch this, or at some points, one time I tried to watch this and I couldn't watch it just because I watched that scene, and I would always have to turn away when I knew that scene was coming up, because it just disturbs me so much. I don't know why, but the movie is so good. And the only thing I don't want to spoil anything, but there is something that happens to each person in the apartment building in the movie. And when it happens, there's kind of a grossness to that, but it's kind of the classic horror type of way. It kind of grosses. It's not the new stuff where they're like gouging people's eyeballs out and stuff like that. Which that I talked about that. I'm not a big gore person. I'm not huge into gore. If you have to use gore in your horror movies, I think it's just kind of a cheap. It's a cheap thing. You know, to me, a scary movie is something that can literally creep you out or scare you without going into gore. You know, it's just a different thing. And there's been some gore movies that are actually pretty good if they do it in a good way and they use it in the right way. You know, gore can be used. You know, I mean, I've seen it on Hills Have Eyes, the original Hills Have Eyes. They have a dog and it shows him eating like intestines, or he's like licking intestines or biting into intestines or something that were laying on the ground that were just left somewhere. And that was pretty disgusting after, you know, somebody got gutted by one of the hitchhiker guys or one of the families, whatever. They show that in the original one, and that's not bad because it's like, it can happen. Like, that can creep you out. Like, that stuff is okay. And even that, like, I was like squeamish. I was like, ooh, God, I can't handle the gore. I just can't handle like some of the stuff that's like cheap gore, like the newer Evil Dead. Like, I thought that almost kind of turned me off, but it was done in such a way. Like, Evil Dead is kind of more campy horror, and when it does it like that, and Dale Tucker, you know, versus Evil, super awesome. Something was bugging me. I think I was gonna turn the bathroom light off. All right, anyway. But yeah, there we go. Troll, super good movie though, and I think the chick that plays the main girl, the little girl, looks like the chick from Poltergeist. I don't know if that's right. I do remember. Who played the older lady? Eunice. I can't remember who played Eunice in the movie. I think it was June Locke. June Locke, maybe? I'm not sure what her name was. But there's some people that you would know. And Sonny Bono is one of the tenants in the apartment building, so that's pretty cool. There's some other people too. Dreyfus, the chick from Seinfeld. Elaine, there you go. She's in the movie too. Who's the other person? I think the other person is somebody too. Like, there's some famous people in here, and the dad, you will know who the dad is, because he was in like a bunch of classic movies back in that time. So if you ever watch a lot of classic movies, the dad was in like a bunch of stuff back in that time. And the little girl, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's either the Poltergeist girl or she's been in some other stuff too. The name didn't sound familiar, but then again, I don't think that girl was in very much. But it looked like she was older than she was in Poltergeist, but she could have been around the same age. I mean, I don't know what other movies she made, because I thought she died during the filming of like the third Poltergeist or something, or maybe she died shortly after. I don't remember when she passed, but I thought she died during the filming of the third Poltergeist or something. Something happened. I know she died like young, so I don't know what she filmed. So that's some other research I'll have to do and maybe do a video about that at some point, because I know that's it's kind of a weird movie. If you go back and look, like, a lot of people died that were in the filming of the first Poltergeist. It was horrible, and the series was just filled with deaths, people dying like one after the other. It's kind of weird. But yeah, this movie I seen on comment. Like I said, I saw it was on. I really wanted to review it. I hadn't seen it in a long time. There was a couple things that I'll tell you that the only thing that was a takeaway that would take away from the movie, being on cable TV, which that's what it was, is on Comet. It's a standard channel. It's not a special channel or anything. They don't even have an HD channel, I don't think, for Comet. So if they do, then it's like in a way, way, way expensive package, and I don't have that one. I mean, I've got like the third step up. I mean, I've got a pretty decent package because it's got DVR with it. Anyways, but the only thing is there is some butt scenes, and it's for, I believe, Elaine from Seinfeld shows her butt. And like 3 times, because it came across fuzzy like 3 times, and I was like, "Oh man, I could have seen her butt." But I'm sure I've seen that scene before. And then there's another part where I think Sonny Bono cusses when the troll comes after him. Sorry, there's a little bit of spoiler right there, but he's cussing, or yeah, that's all I'll say. Because all the tenants basically get greeted by this troll at one point or the other. Anyways. I'm not spoiling anything. You still got to watch the movie. It's still entertaining. The thing about this one is too, it's such a classic film. It's not really horror per se, I guess. It's more fantasy, because once the movie ends, everybody outside kind of treats it like, oh, what was in there? And they're making all jokes. And then something happens at the end, which is kind of wondering if it leads into the second one, but I don't know. But anyways, I like the movie. It's not the greatest movie ever, and a lot of people probably will go into it saying like, oh, this guy said it was really good. And you might watch it and you might not like it. But see, I like entertaining stuff like this, like that's kind of out there and kind of takes a new direction that most movies don't go. And even if it's an older movie, it's one of those movies I grew up watching, and it's kind of like Blank Check and there's some other movies I've reviewed. There's some movies I haven't reviewed. Like I don't know if I watched Little Monsters or reviewed that yet. I have seen that. But Little Monsters is one with like Fred Savage and Howie Mandel. Such a great movie that I grew up with, watching it like 2 or 3 times as a teenager, and as a kid I think I've seen it. And then watching Blank Check when I was younger, enjoyed that. I even liked the movie when I got older. I was like 22, 23 or something like that. I was watching Good Boy. I enjoyed Good Boy. I thought it was a pretty dang good movie. Had a talking dog in it. I'm sold, man. I still like Milo and Otis. I don't care what anybody says, what they did to the animals. I'm sorry they did that to the animals, but the movie was phenomenal. I love the movie. I love the movie Milo and Otis. Homeward Bound. I love them. You can't beat a talking animal movie. Like, I've seen some of Beverly Hills Chihuahuas, and I swear I want to see the entire series go on Netflix, which I think it's already been on there. But if it ever goes on there again, I'm watching the entire series and I'm reviewing them on the channel, because I will love each and every one of them. I like goofy movies. I really do. But when it comes to horror, I'm a bit picky. I can't stand some B horror movies. But this is, like I said, it's kind of more fantasy, because they kind of talk about, trolls, hence the movie Troll. And they talk about other stuff, and then things that happen in the movie. The funniest thing about this movie, there is some funniness to it. It's not supposed to be funny, but it does have comedy to it. And it's trying to say that, how do I say this without without spoiling anything? Okay, here's this. This is all I'm going to say. There are other trolls that show up in this film. That's not the main one. And when they show up, in the different locations that they show up in, I think I've already just gave everything away. But anyways, you have to see it anyway. It just doesn't do justice. But the other trolls will basically, like, randomly throughout the movie, they'll jump to them, and they'll start, like, humming this, like, it's so weird. It's so weird and so hilarious at the same time. And I got a kick at it. That's one of the things I think I loved about the movie when I used to watch it like a long time ago, is that they would have these trolls and they'd be like shaking their head and stuff like that. And the other thing about this movie is another movie that I have yet to review for this channel, and I've seen, I think I watched them all, because a long time ago, Hollywood Video, I would go and I would rent VHS and DVD like crazy. And I'm pretty sure in the VHS section, I have rent all the Ghoulies movies, and I guarantee you that they used some of the Ghoulies and dressed them up as trolls and put them in this film. Because I swear that a bunch of these little trolls that show up in this movie ended up being Ghoulies, or they were Ghoulies, and they reused them. You can only imagine in B movies like that happened back in the day. They probably saved some money and probably reused the things, which would really kind of suck though, because then what if you wanted to later on put them on like, they probably never thought there'd be something called Comic-Con, but it kind of would suck though, because then you couldn't go back and use some of the main ones if you did put them in whatever. But then again, maybe they were just cheap casts from those, or maybe they did it the other way around. Maybe they used them in Trolls, and maybe they put them in Ghoulies. But Ghoulies was a bunch of about a bunch of creatures that wreaked havoc on people. And it's a really cool series too. Check it out if you ever come across any Ghoulies, which I don't know if they've been released to DVD or not. If they did, I'll definitely jump on that. If I ever seen them on DVD, I would instantly want to buy the movies because I love those movies. That has got to be the Ghoulies have got to be like my favorite franchise. But going to Troll, it was my second one. Like if I could pick any campy movie from back then, it took me a long time to get to Evil Dead because I was like, well, I kept on looking back with it, and I'm like, eh. And I seen a couple scenes on it. Like it took me the longest time to get to that. The Troll and Ghoulies were something I watched with my mom, and I think what first got me into horror movies. And Troll kind of was one of those movies that kind of set me on that pace to go, that was not that creepy, and it was a pretty decent, stupid movie. But it was entertaining. It kept me entertained, and I loved it. So my review for Troll is if you want a fun movie to watch, and you like watching different movies, it's a great movie. Hopefully your audio is a little bit better. If you happen to catch this on maybe like another channel or something and not on Comet, because channel sucked. Like the audio is horrible. Like the audio is really bad. The video is really bad. So hopefully maybe we'll get a. Hopefully I would hope at some point that they would put like some older movies on Blu-ray and kind of fix them up. Because I mean they got so many older movies that I hope they can go in and fix before they just lose all the footage altogether. Because man, that'd be so horrible if like some of these movies like Ghoulies and Trolls, and I mean Evil Dead, of course they went and remastered that, but that came out probably near the end of when Ghoulies and them came out. So I don't know, but anyway, Troll definitely if you see it on TV, check it out. It's pretty awesome. Take the time to watch it. It's a cool little movie. Yeah. So there you go. I watched it. I checked it out. And it's not very long. I think it's like an hour and a half or something like that. So it's not a very long movie. So I would say this: if you catch it on one of the, if you have like HBO or something like that, I don't know if they ever would have that on there, but if they do, definitely check it out. If they ever put it on like Netflix or something like that, hopefully they can get it mastered to where it's a better quality movie, and they put it on there because that would be an amazing thing for Netflix. If they could get Troll and Troll 2 and the Ghoulies movies. Oh my God. The only thing I've ever seen, I think, streaming was I seen Ghoulies 4. I think streaming one time, and I'm like, I'd like to watch the other 3. It always happens that way, where you see Ghoulies 4 or Ghoulies 3. Ghoulies 2 is the greatest Ghoulies of all of them. The Ghoulies 1 is like blah. It just gets you into the story, and it doesn't really tell you anything. Ghoulies 2 is the more entertaining one because I think it has the toilet scene in it, which freaked me out as a kid. But but I still loved watching the movies. But I remember after that happened, after I watched that Ghoulies movie, the second one, like I would have trouble going to the bathroom because I would think somebody's gonna come up out of the toilet. Anyways, there you go. It's got kind of a longer movie review talking about Ghoulies and Troll, but I want to rewatch Ghoulies to tell you the story about that because I really don't remember like what the story is. But Troll, basically, a family moves into the apartment building, and well, things ensue. Something happens. One person in the family. Oh, it's the daughter. The daughter gets kind of cray-cray. They wonder why. I wonder why. You'll have to find out. Don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool movie. Anyways, check it out. If you ever catch it on TV or something, or if you find it on VHS, check it out, buy it, and pick it up. Keep rocking and keep watching those creepy movies. Later, guys. Keep rocking.